Hello, this is the Google Maps Route Optimizer Chrome extension I've made. It's a tool to help optimize routes that have multiple destinations in them. So if I go to Google Maps here after adding to Chrome, I have this Route Optimizer button here, and it pops open this window. So essentially, if I just click Go, I have some default text here, and each line is going to be a location, and you can just add new locations as well, and just type in. But this is just by default, so I can click Go and show this as an example. It'll load the route, and Google Maps will try to resolve each line as an address. So you still want to try to be descriptive and provide a city and state. But yeah, Google Maps will try to figure out like the exact address and everything, so it's pretty sweet. Basically, if you click on, okay, so I'll just look at the route here and say Belle Isle is where it starts, and then it goes to Michigan Central. So Michigan Central is to the left here, to the Detroit Riverwalk, to the Motown Museum, which is up at the top, and then the Heidelberg Project is all the way to the right here, and then the Fisher Building is back up here. So it's not the most optimized route. And what I can do is if I open the route optimizer, I can say, okay, the route optimization starts after the selected addresses. So the selected addresses are frozen. I put it in blue, kind of maybe like make it visual. But basically, by default, you start here, and then everything else is optimized. So from Belle Isle, what takes the least amount of time to get to, it'll select that one and then do it again for the last 4, and then it'll do it again for the last 3, and then the last 2, and then it'll just take you there. So if I click optimize and go, that's what it's going to do. It sometimes takes, well, it does take a minute because it has to do all those operations, but it is based on Google Maps as well. So they try to, it does account for traffic and such when you run it. Okay, so the Belle Isle Aquarium is again where we started, but now the next location is the Heidelberg Project. So it's definitely a shorter line here. Then it takes you to Michigan Central, which looks farther away than the Detroit Riverwalk right here, but in terms of time, it is faster. And then it takes you to the Detroit Riverwalk here, and then it takes you up to the Fisher Building, and then it takes you to the Motown Museum. I've actually ran this different times, and it will take you sometimes, instead of to the Detroit Riverwalk here, it'll take you up to the Motown Museum, and then bring you back down to the Detroit Riverwalk after going to Fisher Building. It all depends on the time you run it because traffic can change, which is just, this is an illustrative of that. But you can also see, yeah, so the line is straighter. And in the description, I also have a link to my blog post, and there you'll see some use cases. So if you want to go on a road trip or plan landmarks in a city, or, you know, what I originally was trying to do was go to all these locations, people's houses for Halloween. I found a blog post that had like, oh, the best Halloween decorations, and there were over like 30 addresses there that I needed to route. And the free tools I found were this MapQuest tool, which you'll have to move everything manually. Very manual process. You can load in addresses, but then yeah, it doesn't automatically route them. And then RouteXL, I didn't know until after, but it also, it does actually look pretty interesting. I think it does route, but it's down. So I don't know what's going on with that. But they do have a free version that allows up to 20 stops per route, whereas this Chrome extension, I believe you can do, I've seen it, I think like around like mid 20s. I want to say even low 30s. It sometimes depends, but Google Maps really doesn't usually let you do very much. I think that's like 10. So this is definitely pushing it a little bit further. So, but it does seem to work for over 20, so it's pretty sweet. But yeah, anyway, so RouteXL does have you know, paid options as well, and there are more paid solutions. I did see this blog, which was pretty nicely put together, and there are all these different locations here as well. I'm sorry, not locations, but options. paid options for route optimizers and such. So some of them look actually really great if you're maybe more in like a corporate setting, but for the individual, I don't want to pay $100 per year. So at the bottom of the blog post, you can find a link to this YouTube video, the Chrome extension. I'll also put a link to the GitHub repository so you can see the code, but you can also download the code here, as well as this is a link to how to install unpacked extensions in Google Chrome. So it's just an external link, but essentially it just describes the process about loading unpacked zip files. So anyway, that is the blog post. That is the tool. And a little bit more is if you want to pull from a page. So like I said, for all these use cases, like Christmas decorations, I plan to find a blog post with all the addresses for Christmas decorations and route them and just go. It worked really well, actually, for Halloween decorations. So, you know, people go all out and have these huge displays. They're really awesome to go see. So, and thank you to all those people because it's awesome. So, this is a blog post that's basically just landmarks in Detroit. Fox Theater, Central Station. Essentially what I want to do is open the developer tools with Control-Shift-I and click on this console tab if it's not already selected. And in my blog post, it's gone. Let's do this. And in my blog post, I have an example. So I'm going to copy and paste this here. This will not work in every site, but I want to show this because it will, the structure, I guess, will work for probably most sites. So what I mean by that is right here, you're going to document selector, you're going to select the elements in the page that have the name or the address or whatever you're looking for. So you can inspect those elements, and these are just bold, but typically maybe you'll want like a pull from like a class or anything. You can specify anything in this query selector all, and put that there. So once you have an array of those, then you're going to map and pull out the inner text. You may need to clean that up a little bit, but I am just going to show that you should probably add, if it's not already there, some more description as to where it is. So like when it pulls Fox Theater and it pulls Michigan Central Station, I add Detroit, Michigan, even USA, which is not really necessary, but definitely you want to probably put in like the city and the state, and this was just like the first bold text that it pulled, but all these ones are all the addresses that as you scroll down the page here. Alternatively, you know, you could be copy paste, and just throw them all in here. That would work too. But this is just kind of like a pattern that you can use in JavaScript to try to parse the page. And then once you get an array of all those, you can join on a new line, and you just have to throw that in a console log in order for it to actually print the new lines here. But yeah, so now that I have all these, I'm just going to grab a couple more and throw them into here. And if I click go, this is the route. So you'll see that this route is, again, pretty crazy. You'll even see it's 2 hours long, right? 2 hours and 19 minutes. And let's say, oh, the Fox Theater, actually, I want to start at Michigan Central. So let's see, where's Michigan Central? Oh, it's here. I just need to drag it up. The tool, if I click Route Optimizer again, Michigan Central is now first. So it already knows. And then I click on Optimize and Go. And hopefully this should work, although it is interesting. It doesn't have all of the Detroit, Michigans and stuff. But anyway, the point is that 2 hours and 16 minutes here, and then it'll reroute. And now it's 1 hour and 27 minutes where we start at Michigan Central here. And then the Penobscot building is over here. And then basically all of these are, it's tried to be more optimized now. And the lines are straighter, and it's much, at least 30 minutes less time. Actually, it was like 2 hours and 19 minutes, right? So that's like much more. So anyway, that is just an example. And there's also a QR code button here. So if you like the route, you can click on QR code, and then this should open on your phone. We can maybe increase the pixel size here. Maybe I'll do that. But other than that, we are good. So click close to close it. Hopefully this helped you in some way. Links in the description, and good day. Night.